But I've gone blank as to what we were going to talk about today.
Okay, so we're just winging it.
Wing it.
We're gonna,
Okay. Shall I just do the intro then?
yeah, we'll start
This will
with
end up being.
basic meditation,
Okay,
and
then.
then we'll
All
go on
right.
about
This
to
will
about
probably.
cards.
Okay, then. All right. This will probably end up being the intro anyway. So, welcome back to Tech Talks and Soul Walks. And I'm your host, Julie Kubiak. And as you can see, back in the room today is Sophie Rose. So, hello, Sophie. Over
Hi,
there,
thanks for having me
whichever way you
back.
are. And yeah, if you heard the intro, I can't remember what we decided we were actually going to talk about today. So I think we decided we were going to talk about meditation today. Remind me again, Sophie, what we decided? Meditation.
And we're going to talk about the difference in cards.
Yes, because I've been asked recently when I've done tarot readings for people, can I do angel readings or angel card readings, I should say. But there's a lot of different cards and Sophie and I will discuss them with you. So let's get straight into it then, Sophie. So meditations. Take it away.
Firstly, I'm going to say there is no right or wrong way, and I am never ever going to meditate for hours on end. I'm not going to sit on the floor and chant. It's just I can't do it. My mind just wanders. I do my best meditating when I haven't got my eyes closed and I'm just doing something like the ironing or the washing up or taking the dog for a walk, anything like that. So the first thing that I would say, if you want to meditate and you want to do it to music, just listen to lots of music first with your eyes open. Find something that just feels right for you. And the music that I've listened to has always changed as my guides have changed.
Mm.
So your spirit guides will change as you develop. Your spirit guides can change. So you've chosen your music. First thing is just sit there, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Stuff comes into your head, just acknowledge it and just let it go. And it takes practice. It does. There's so many different guided meditations out there. Find one that works for you. Do a guided one or just do your own thing. And for me, if I'm going to ground, if it's in a meditation, for me, and like I said, there are so many different ways, but for me, I walked to a certain place in the forest, but this is a place that I've actually visited. I find it easier to picture in my head then. And I was sitting in a hollowed out tree, and you just place your feet on the ground and just imagine roots coming out of the bottom of your feet deep down into the earth, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Or you can go outside in your bare feet and walk on the grass. Go and hug a tree. It's it's as simple as that. I will then normally remove any blocks that are around me, anything negative. I normally call in Archangel Michael because I work with angels. But again, there's lots of different things, and you just imagine him getting his sword and just cutting everything away from you. I then put myself in a bubble. A lot of people put themselves in a white bubble of light. For me, I just imagine my angels surrounding me and their wings just interlocking and just creating a circle around me.
I would do exactly all of those things. But do people have to ground and protect if they're talking to just their angels?
No, no.
Do they need to meditate either to connect with angels?
No, you need to be quiet. You need to have a quiet mind. And
Mhm.
I think if you're struggling to meditate, go for a walk.
Mhm.
Or we've spoken about this before, but go and have a shower and just talk
Mhm.
to them in the shower. Anywhere where you are going to have no distractions.
I do find a lot of people, to clear their mind, crazy as it sounds, if they don't like walking, they actually prefer going to the gym or doing something very physical because that switches off that chatter, that constant noise in your mind and that you can't switch off from. And sometimes some kind of physical activity is better than the total opposite of trying to just shut down and just tune in, I think. Everybody's different.
Oh, definitely. And just find something that works for you. And when I
Mm.
first started meditating, I couldn't get past about a minute. I just couldn't do it. I still have days where I just struggle. My mind is too busy. I can't focus.
I prefer to meditate first thing in the morning while I'm still pretty relaxed. And I do find that sometimes I get just as good as meditation as I'm just trying to go off to sleep at night. So for me, that physical lying down works, but it doesn't work for everybody. You've just said yourself, obviously, you prefer to keep your eyes open. I do as well if it's daytime meditation. But if someone says, oh, everyone close their eyes for meditation, my eyes won't close. It's like, bing. And that's it. They just won't do what they're told to do. They want to do the opposite, really.
You can always, when you meditate as well, just do nothing. Just close your eyes and be quiet.
Mm.
And just as a start, while you've got your eyes closed, you can just ask your angels to come forward or your guides to come forward. Maybe just get them to come forward and give you their names. And it might take a few goes of you asking. But again, there are guided meditations to help you do that.
I find that there's quite a lot. In fact, there's probably more than enough different types of them on YouTube. And some are guided ones, as you're saying, where people are talking and talking you through a scenario, a scene, or things like that. Or just simply like tuning forks or sound bowls or gongs or of that kind, where it's just music, it's just quiet, peaceful music. For me, it depends on what mood I'm in as to which ones I want to listen to. Some are
So yeah,
just too wordy. Yeah.
I I don't tend to do the guided meditations just because I'm too impatient and they're just too slow. I admit it, I get bored. But I just want to say I've had a lot of people that have done my course that have got really hung up on the fact that they don't know their guardian angels' names. I haven't got a
Mhm.
clue. I haven't got a clue what my angel's called. I don't. I've been working with angels my whole life. If you asked me to name all the archangels, I couldn't. I couldn't name them. I couldn't tell you what angel works for what. I would have to look at my note.
You see, the only archangel that I really remember is um, some of the big ones, but the one I find that works with me is Archangel George Michael. He's on the other side and he does sing to me. I like listening to his music and getting a lot of information, let's say, from his songs. But yeah, I do joke he's my archangel now. Bless him. Yeah.
If you're struggling, reach out to me as well. I give a lot of free information as well as my course. I will be relaunching my course as well later this year.
Yeah, and that's good. And I can recommend Sophie's courses. I think I did nearly every single one, didn't I? I think it was at some point, I think I actually gave you feedback on them as you were putting some of them together. And your readings are amazing. I've got to say, hand on heart, you're the only person ever that has done me readings that have then, I can say, that came true and that came true.
Oh,
So,
thank
just as an
you.
aside, that when I was in France, and I think I may have touched on this on the last episode that we did together, you told me in 2017 that I'd be moving back to the UK and you described this house perfectly. And I was adamant, I'm not moving back to the UK. And you said, well, I don't see you selling up, but I see you coming back. And then you said that the person that I was going to be getting together with, I would meet them when I returned back. So anyway, came back primarily for health reasons back in summer of 2018. And 6 months later, I moved into this house, which was photographic exactly as you had actually said it was. And if I recall, I think I had to send you photos of it, or I did a video call to you to say, this is the big ingle fireplace. This are the big beams. You'd even said it was like a 200, 300-year-old house. And it was. And it's a cottage, little tiny cottage, hidden away at the back of this estate. But this entire estate has been built around this cottage. And it was exactly as you described it. And I was blown away, and I kind of went cold, but it was like excitement, like, oh my gosh, it's one of the first readings I could actually say somebody got spot on, apart from all the other little things that you'd said to me over the time. But yes, so I can definitely recommend Sophie's courses if you're watching this. Can you remember what some of the courses are? Because I know you're going to be rejigging them and rewriting them anyway.
I do a basic angel course for beginners, which will cover all the basics. Will get you from the beginning to doing angel readings. And it takes you through all the different levels. There was one about crystal and indigo children and all the different spiritual children that are being born and have been born. And it's amazing because with each generation, these children are just becoming so aware so quickly. And I see this in my own granddaughter.
That's another thing actually that you'd picked up on before we'd even ever done a video call between us, and I was living in France still. And you'd mentioned, without me saying, that I'd got two children. You said there were two totally different sort of personalities, let's say. And you'd mentioned that my youngest was very sensitive, and she is ticking every single box that you even said back then, how she would be and how she would sort of evolve. And she's very sensitive. And I think the term was Earth Angel, I think was the term that you'd put on it. And she is, even down to the facial shape.
That was another one of my courses. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. It's been a while. Different types of Earth Angels and how you can spot what type of Earth Angel someone is and the different roles that they play.
Because I've never come across a course like that one. That is totally unique, unless I try to research it again now. But we are talking, 7 years ago? 8 years ago we did that course.
And the thing is, you can spot them. And when you get used to spotting them, you can. We've all seen people and they just looked really odd. They just look like they don't belong here. And star people, I think, are the easiest to spot. And then ones that have come from the fairy realm, and they tend to look like little fairies. It is really fascinating, and I'm actually really looking forward to getting back into it.
Going back to the cards then that we briefly touched on, can you just explain to the listeners and the viewers about the different kinds of cards that are out there on the market? I know that there's probably numerous different types of cards, but can you just explain some of the basic card styles and how they work?
First, you've got the traditional, I think, which sort of most people know, is the traditional Rider-Waite tarot. And I think for me, they're the most difficult. Traditional tarot is the most difficult to read, mainly because I can't remember what they mean. I just cannot remember the meanings, and I get them completely confused. I think you're either good with tarot or you're not. Some people will stick religiously to their meanings. Others will read the cards intuitively. I tend to read them intuitively. I don't use them all the time, if I'm honest. You tend to be much better at them than me.
To be honest, the only first deck that I ever got used to, which I can then relay that information onto other decks. So I've got a photographic memory, and that's how it works for me. So if I can see a particular card, but I look at a different tarot deck, I'm seeing the Rider-Waite pictures and the imagery on it. So then it kind of layers it with any other deck that I've got. But yeah, I have got numerous other decks. I've got 80 at present.
Yeah, I haven't got quite that many, but I'm catching you up. So I tend to use angel tarot cards. So they were designed based on traditional tarot. And there was someone called Radley Valentine, and he's designed a lot of cards. And he knows tarot very well. And so he's taken the cards, but made them a lot more gentle. But he's also got just enough words written on the cards that you don't actually have to remember anything. And the pictures are beautiful. You can use them two ways. You can either read what's on there, or you can read the pictures, or do a combination of both. And for me personally, I think they're the best cards. And there are so many different types of angel tarot now. And then, of course, you've got the traditional oracle cards, and there's hundreds out there. There really is. And it's just a
Thousands,
matter of,
millions.
you just have to find different ones that suit you. And I've
Yeah.
got a lot of oracle cards.
So in case any person's listening or watching is wondering what oracle cards are as opposed to tarot cards, oracle cards could be just a deck which doesn't have to have 78 cards and the traditional pictorial imagery on them, but they could just be a word or a symbol or a picture. Most oracle cards, I think, are usually average about 44 cards on a deck, and it could just be, like I say, just one word, or it could be a phrase or a paragraph. Sometimes, I know some of the newer ones, they've got a lot of information on, so they might have crystals on there, they could have particular flowers, they could have colours on there as well. Oracle cards are just easier. You're not connecting with angels, you're not doing anything, you're just reading them, almost like giving you like a journal. So if you could pick a card in the morning and you could journal on that card, it's whatever information you get from it yourself personally then.
If you're going to do a reading for yourself, certainly starting with an oracle pack is the way to go. And just practice on yourself, and you'll be surprised at the results.
Any particular oracle deck that you use on a regular basis then, Sophie?
You've seen this so battered and tatty. I use Radley Valentine, the Angel Tarot, the blue ones, it's the blue pack. It's the first ones that he did. And then I don't think they're no longer in print, but I got some romance cards as well that I use. And those were the two sort of packs that I used to use back in the days when I used to work for Psychic TV and on the phone lines.
You've met Radley Valentine, haven't you?
I did, and I met Carl Gray and Diane Cooper. They were absolutely amazing. Carl Gray was so charming. Radley Valentine was so chuffed. There was all these people queuing up with their brand new packs of cards to get him to sign them. And I turn up with this really cheap pack of cards that are falling to bits. And he was so chuffed, and he was like, wow. He said, you've made my day. He said, that's what they're meant for. Or should I meant for you? But Diane Cooper, she was absolutely such a beautiful soul. And before she went on stage, she was amongst the audience just saying hello to everybody. Really
So how long
lovely
ago was
lady.
that then?
Don't know. Long time ago. At least 5 years ago. But it could have been longer.
Yes. Carl Gray hasn't been with Hay House, can't say that long. He's got to have been with them about 6, 7 years, probably as long as I've known you. And Radley's obviously been with them quite some time.
That was in
But
Bristol. That
yeah,
was a angel convention in Bristol. And it was amazing. And because of my hearing, I'd asked them beforehand and I said, look, I'm hard of hearing. So they put me right in the front seat. So,
VIP.
oh, it's lovely. So I had my name on a card on the seat and it's right at the very front. It was lovely. So I
Oh,
turned up and was
oh,
escorted
fantastic.
to my seat. It's lovely.
Oh,
And it's
that's an
just the
amazing time.
energy of when you have that many people together.
It's something that you probably wouldn't get the chance to do again because I don't know how often he actually comes over to Europe. Yeah, Carl Gray's Scottish, but I don't know again if he does much. I have a feeling that I've got some of the friends that have seen Carl Gray. He did some kind of convention in London. That was, I think, before lockdown, actually, nearly four,
Yeah, she's got
5 years
such a
ago.
lovely presence. I need to dig out my photos actually, because I do have a photo with him.
Oh, jealous, jealous.
Yeah, that might have been one of my happier moments.
Some of the decks that I've got and you've got, I've bought because you've recommended them. But recently I've bought some decks and because they're out of print, I could only get them used and the decks have been used. What could people do if they wanted to buy a used deck but make them their own?
Oh, you can cleanse them. Even the decks that you've got that you use all the time, it's a good idea to cleanse them every now and again. For me, there's loads of different ways of doing it. I know we have a smudge stick, or if you haven't got a smudge stick, just an incense stick of sage. And I normally just wave that over the cards. I normally then ask my angels to clear anything negative attached to my cards. And then
Okay.
I touch each card just to put my print on them again and
Uh-huh.
just fan them against my heart. And I just normally say a simple thing like, angels, can you bless these cards? Help me give insightful, helpful readings to people that need it. Just whatever comes into your head, whatever feels right, really.
So are you one of these people then that keeps the cards and keeps the decks to themselves? Or if you were doing a face-to-face reading, would you allow somebody to shuffle the cards or touch the cards? Because I know everybody's different.
I tend to keep my cards to myself, but I think a lot of that is because a lot of my readings are done over the internet anyway.
Mm.
And it's just a habit that I got into. I can't see the benefit of getting someone else to shuffle them or touch them. But different people work in different ways. I've had really good readings. They've asked me to pick the cards.
Well, whenever I've done readings, if I'm doing them face-to-face, I sometimes get them to shuffle the cards or to split the deck, only because it feels like they've had some kind of interaction with the deck and feel like they're part of the reading then. It's not for me to pick up their energy because I've done readings over the phone, I've done readings via video call, and I've even done it through emails as well. So I don't need that person in front of me and they don't need to touch anything. That's just me personally.
You've given myself and my daughter readings that have been
Mm.
really accurate, and that's not been face to face. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
one day
true.
we'll actually get to meet face to face. But
Yes, I'll hold you to that. Yeah.
the thing is, there are so many different tools out there, and there's so many different ways of connecting with angels, with spirits. There's playing cards, and
Mm.
you've got the rune stones, you've got a pendulum.
Tea leaf reading.
Yeah, and
That's
the
another way.
palm reading. There's so many different. I'm starting to try and teach myself palm reading, so this is what I'm currently doing.
Oh, oh no, that will be interesting because I had my palm read when I had the Romany gypsy turn up at the house, and she said about two children, and probably should say this on air, two marriages, and like I say, the two children as well. So that blew me away. So yes, one marriage done and dusted. But I'm not going chasing for the second one just yet. I don't think I'm ready. I think I need a partner before I can get married anyway, but that's
Yeah,
another story. That's another
you know,
podcast.
that tends to help.
Yeah, it's a bit like that meme where you tell your partner that you've got a wedding to go to and he turns up and then he realizes he's the groom because you were surprised on him. No, I'm not that. It's creepy at all.
I just want to quickly say, with choosing any cards, if you're not sure, then I'm a great believer that the right card will find you.
Mm,
And
yeah.
just ask to be led to the right path. And
Mm.
I've been told by a lot of people that you shouldn't buy your first pack yourself, you should be given it. To me, that's complete nonsense. I brought mine and nothing bad happened.
No, I do find that if I'm watching tarot more so on YouTube or if I'm seeing somebody else with a deck, if I'm drawn to that deck, I'll go and Google the imagery on it because when you see the decks in a shop, you can't actually see what the pictures are like. So I like to check out the imagery, and if I'm drawn to it, then I'll order the deck. As my Amazon wish list shows, I've got usually 2 dozen in my wish list or in my shopping basket at any one time, but I don't always buy them. Don't always buy them. But the first deck I bought was, I think I mentioned it in the original podcast, the Soul Talks podcast. It was a One World tarot deck, and all it got was pictures of planets and asteroids and stars and things like that. It meant absolutely nothing as a starting deck. I wish I'd done a bit more research, but at that point in time, I didn't think to even look it up. I was absolutely drawn to them. They made me go cold as though I was meant to have them. Every now and then I'll get them out, but I'm still not connecting with them. But I personally can't get rid of any decks. Maybe I should. I know if anything happened to me, my kids would get rid of them now, but
First deck that I brought was Doreen Virtue, Messages from Your Angels. And that was the only deck that I had for about maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But absolutely loved them. And I still get them out now and again. They're very easy to use.
I'm assuming they're not in print still, though, because they're a Doreen Virtue deck.
I don't know. A lot of them are still about on eBay and
Mm. And I know
but
some of the Chinese shops, they have got copies of them. And in fact, please, this is a serious warning. Be careful if you're buying decks from Amazon. Just see who the supplier is. If it says the name of the person, say Radley Valentine or Kyle Gray or Colette Baron Reed, if it says their name as to who it is that they buy, then they are the official deck. If it just says generic or anything like that, they are copies. Usually a damn sight smaller and not the high quality. And a friend of mine, Heather, she bought a deck. I think it may have been, I want to say Rider Waite deck, and she just chose them because they were cheaper than the rest of them and thought, oh, okay, then I'll just get the cheaper version. Not knowing that it wasn't just that it was a cheaper deck, it was they were cheap and nasty. So much so she can only read them if she's wearing the glasses because they're that small and tiny. But yeah, just be careful. There are loads of copies out there,
yeah.
which is fine if you just want a small pack to put in your handbag. I mean, I've got some fantastic little tiny decks that I do carry around with me, but just know that they're not the genuine ones.
But some of them are so thin as well, you can't even shuffle them.
Mm. Yeah. But then equally, I've found that there's a couple of decks. I can't think who they're by though. They're so thick, high quality, they don't bend. So if somebody wants just a starter deck, then what deck, bearing in mind there's obviously the Rider Waite they can go to, what deck would you recommend then as a starter Oracle deck or tarot style deck then for somebody that's just starting off?
I would either go, if you are serious about doing readings and learning readings, I would go for one of the different packs of angel tarot cards because they will cover everything. If you want a deck just to look at one particular area, then look at the different oracle deck. I think my favourites will always be the angel tarot cards because they're a good all-rounder.
I'd got the animal tarot deck that you recommended to me, which I put off buying for years because I thought, no, I don't want to start to read, animals or spirit animals. And it wasn't anything like that at all. They're just really nice imagery on it. Um, is it is that the deck which has got sort of like similar to the angel tarot deck, where it's got more than just it's kind of like a couple of lines?
Yes, all the angel tarot cards will have enough words on them. I've never looked at the books that come with cards because there's just enough words, and with the imagery on there, you can do a reading. And I've had
Yeah.
people that have never picked up a pack of cards before I've had them doing a reading.
Okay, then Sophie, do you want to just remind everybody where they can reach out to you and follow you then?
So I am on TikTok. I haven't posted a lot on there yet. I will be posting more on there, but also on Facebook. I haven't done it yet, but I will be doing it over the next couple of weeks. I'm setting up a Facebook group, and that is just going to be for those that are serious about learning and studying.
Hop on into there and join that group then when that's up.
I'm really looking forward to teaching and learning as well, because I'm hoping that there will be other people in there that also have things that they can share.
Okay, thank you very much then, Sophie. And thank you very much for everybody that's watching and tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Tech Talks and Soul Walks.
And thank you for having me.